I'm Adam Housley, and you're in the strategy room. Debate over Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while Secretary of State is still drawing fire from her critics. But there's new controversy brewing over at the Department of Homeland Security. Bloomberg is reporting that Secretary Jay Johnson and other senior staffers used private email from their work computers, even though the department banned such activity. Here with reaction are political strategists David Mercer and Brad Blakeman. Guys, we've heard this at the state level as well across the country, where state-paid, now federally paid workers are basically thumbing their noses at federal regulation and not using the official servers, not using official email, but going through their own private, basically backdoor way of communicating. Brad, I'm going to start with you. There's a major problem here.
It's a huge problem. You know, when I was a member of George W. Bush's senior White House staff, I was told, as well as every other staff person, that if you use personal emails or other emails other than your official government email, it compromises all your emails. And guess what? You're going to be fired. It's not permissible as a matter of law or practice for a federal employee to use a personal email. And the only reason why you do it, Adam, is to thwart record keeping and the ability for the American people and Congress, who has the charging of oversight, to find out what's actually going on. So the president should root out anybody, and I'm talking about firing people, or in some cases criminal liability, for going around the laws and using personal servers and personal emails to conduct official business.
And David, there's a security issue here as well. Not just the fact that you won't be able to potentially get to the emails if you want them for some sort of congressional investigation or whatever, or our right as Americans to see that information, as long as it's not highly controversial or not controversial, as long as it's not highly sensitive. My question to you is: there's a serious concern here we've seen the hacking with China and all the other problems we're having. I mean, what should be done? How much of a problem is this when you've heard this?
Well, cybersecurity is an emerging and threatening issue as we, from week to week, find that out. And with regard to the Secretary's use of private emails, and excuse me, and it wasn't servers, but also they were given waivers, he and other senior officials at the Department of Homeland Security. So they were given waivers, but today, just this morning, the Secretary of Homeland Security said that he has suspended that practice, not only for himself, but also for those that were identified as doing the same. And so this is a serious issue. It is now suspended as far as it goes with Homeland Security. And I think that, people are getting the message that greater care needs to be taken, and they need to stay in their lane as it relates to the rules and regulations that are put in place to protect against cybersecurity threats.
But Brad, I mean, the problem we have, put politics aside here for a second. Greater care, I agree with that, David. I want Brad to respond to this. But this is a situation where it was very, very clearly painted. This is the Department of Homeland Security.
Absolutely.
They knew the rules. They knew what needed to be done. They know the security concerns. They know the fact that they're circumnavigating federal regulation. I mean, and now he says, okay, I'm going to follow the rules. That's like saying I got caught speeding at 95 miles an hour in a 35 zone and telling the police officer, okay, I'll go the speed limit now.
That's right. Look, the only reason why they're suspending it is because they got caught. And if they didn't get caught, they continue to do it. And not only are they subverting the oversight of Congress, but as Adam, you pointed out, it opens us up to cyber hacks and having others, enemies, get their materials. They're never going to tell us they got their materials, but it's more likely than not that it's easier to get a private email than it is to get a government email, although I'm not so sure based on the hacking that's gone on to date, especially with the security information. Millions and millions of government employees' personal information is now in the hands of China. So the Homeland Security should be the gold standard, and instead they're the violators.
David,
Adam,
this is obviously dogged Hillary. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's not that they just got caught, because as I mentioned earlier, they did it transparently and they sought waivers officially.
They should have never gotten the waivers, though, David.
But
that's the problem.
But they gave themselves waivers. That's the problem.
The point
David.
is that they took the steps to get the waivers. So they weren't trying to do something surreptitiously.
Steps to get the waivers
they
that
went
were
on the
illegal.
record.
That's the question.
Adam, they went on the record and they got a waiver to the rule. So they are within bounds. The question
the
is,
administration gave a waiver to itself.
That's the problem here, guys. That's the problem here.
Well, they
made
didn't.
the
Let me.
rules themselves.
Come on,
So
they didn't get away.
Go ahead.
The Bush administration, going back to what Brad had alluded to in his experience there, which he didn't want to mention, but they didn't get a waiver to use, Republican Party web or email servers to do official business or political business from the White House. Okay,
we didn't.
and they didn't get a waiver for that.
Whoa, whoa,
they didn't get a waiver for that.
Let me tell you something. At the White House, and you should know this, there are certain people in the White House that are allowed to have 2 BlackBerries, one for the RNC and one for the government business, and never the two shall meet. And they hadn't. Ken Mellman, Karl Rove were allowed to do political work for the president.
It went beyond them, though, Brad.
No, it did,
and
no,
in addition, somehow we lost
Who?
all those emails.
Who? Who?
Okay.
Who? Name these people. I don't know who they
right.
are.
As you can see, it's a contentious issue, and it's curious to see what happens with Johnson, because obviously this continues to dog the Clinton campaign a bit. There's still a lot of questions about those emails. Still, a lot of them haven't come out, and I'm curious to see what happens to Johnson. David Mercer and Brad Blakeman, we appreciate you guys on. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this coming up in the coming weeks as this continues to unfold. Thanks again for coming on today with us. So for more on this story, of course, and all the others, you can check out foxnews.com as this continues to develop. Until then, I'm Adam Housley, and thanks for watching The Strategy Room.